I talk about productivity on the internet. I'm sure most of you guys know. For those of you that are tuning in onto the YouTube clip, thanks for joining us. Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, by the way. Something plug. I talk about productivity on the internet, and funny enough, Chantz made a interesting... You do it. You tell him.
So I told Dimitri a big secret today. We were just chatting up like future topics for the podcast, and I decided to pull old trick out of the bag, and I told him that midway, it was a midterm paper for the fall semester. We had lived together probably 2 months, and I wasn't sure how comfortable he would be about this, but essentially the assignment was, in my ancient philosophy class, we had to make a Socratic dialogue between Socrates and some kind of modern day figure that would, essentially just be Socrates owning whoever he was facing off in a dialogue. And we had been learning about sophistry and kinds of fake knowledge. And I thought, you know what? Maybe I'll use my my dear friend Dimitri as the victim against Socrates here. So I wrote a paper. It was 5 pages long, basically going back and forth between Dimitri and Socrates, talking about how, I guess this was more so a stand-in for what would be called the fake gurus now.
What's the term in philosophy?
A sophist.
A sophist, okay.
Yeah. Essentially someone who holds general knowledge over areas of expertise. They're no expert themselves, but they hold enough knowledge to be able to persuade people. So they're basically like orators or, just like car salesmen.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So the whole thing was kind of talking about how Dimitri doesn't really have any knowledge. No, it was basically getting to the idea first that productivity is a very abstract idea.
Yeah. Very
hard to define. And to say you're a master or a teacher of productivity is really too abstract to lay claim to.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second idea being that a lot of fake gurus, and I don't know, I used you as a stand-in. I'm not calling you a fake guru.
Thank God.
But a lot of these, quote unquote teachers on the internet are pulling knowledge from other places and basically acting like a middleman for the audience, where the best idea would be to go directly to these sources that these people are learning their knowledge from.
Okay. Yeah. I read this. He showed me this before the episode. Pretty funny. I don't know if I agree with everything that I said, which is a weird thing to say out loud. But yeah, it was funny. Like you asked me for the definition of productivity, and I think in there I said that productivity is like producing things fast, which I just went, that's not the definition I would give it. And that was pretty funny.
Well, the whole idea is that productivity is so hard to define, and I think you offered a good explanation just saying that productivity is a definition that needs context, and it's very true.
Yeah.
But obviously Socrates would not accept that, so I had to say something that, it's called like building like a straw man argument.
Yes, yeah.
Where you essentially build it up and then you break it right back down. But I essentially said making things quickly because it seems encompassing enough. I mean, if you're talking about intellectual property or physical things, most people who are saying they're being productive are producing something.
Yeah.
So.
Sorry. What was my definition I gave you? I gave you the definition of productivity is productivity requires goals. And then upon understanding those goals, being productive is accomplishing tasks towards said goal within the given time in a day in an efficient manner. Now, that means if you're a farmer and you clean the house all day and it does nothing to help you produce more crop, you are unproductive.
Right, exactly.
So that's my real definition.
And providing a real example displays the whole issue with saying you are a master of productivity is because you can say that you teach people how to be productive, but you don't know anything about farming.
I don't. I really don't.
Exactly. And I think in the paper, I made another 21st century analogy to a Chipotle worker, how that would be, a good productive person in the idea of cooking. But the Grubhub driver who is delivering the Chipotle to your front door is no expert because he's not producing anything. He's just moving it from A to B, just like a middleman fake guru.
Yeah, that's true. However, I will say this. What is the goal of the Chipotle worker?
Yeah, to complete orders.
That's the goal of the Chipotle position. But what is the goal of the person?
Oh, just to make money?
If the goal of them is to save money to then do something else, I mean, yeah, then I'd give them the answer of being productive. If their goal is to become a, what's it called? Let's say their goal is to pay their way through college. Yeah, they're being productive. Mm-hmm. If their goal is to make six figures without a college degree, it's awful. They're being extremely unproductive. Like it matters on even on the not job description. I feel like maybe the farmer example, the person obviously has a job description based on like their life choice of being a farmer. If you're a farmer, you're a farmer. Like for not to blanket statement them, but like a Chipotle, a worker being productive. It's like, what about the life? Not just their job, the Airbnb, or sorry, what did I say Airbnb for? The Uber Eats driver or something like that.
Yeah.
It matters on their life context more than the position.
That's true. But even with a goal like earning six figures, like whether you're being productive or not towards that, there's many ways that you can earn six figures. And I think that the whole idea of the productivity scene is that you're not teaching people, exactly how to accomplish this, but rather giving them skill sets and knowledge that can then be pertained to their situation.
Yeah. For example, and this is funny because I think I told Chantz this definition of myself probably after he wrote the paper, but I'm not a productivity expert. I think I've joked on the channel since I told him this in person. I'm not a productivity expert. I'm an enthusiast. I love productivity. It's cool.
This is like a slick way because like you can't knock someone down for that. It's like, oh, they're just passionate about it, man. Come on. Like,
yeah, it's kind of a slick way of like snaking out of, you're not a productivity guru then. No, I'm an enthusiast. I just genuinely like the topic. I discuss it on the internet and I try to be dogmatic in each video because I think it's important to like, okay, this is how it works. Just so you know that in this video, it's like, this is a very tangible tip or set of tips.
Right, exactly.
But I don't ever want to act like I'm a master of productivity. The goal for me is to be the master of my own productivity, which is a completely different thing.
Right. And that's where I think that's in one of the particulars I want to talk about is how there are many productivity enthusiasts on the internet and they're all doing some kind of, they all got their own goals, whether it be like Ali Abdaal, who's like, I don't know, trying to make websites and teach people. I don't even know what he does specifically.
I mean, he's got the websites thing. He wants to teach people other things on his YouTube channel. He's a man of many different interests. Right.
So somebody like Matt Diavella versus Ali Abdaal, they have different goals, but they're both teaching productivity.
Yeah, and self-help and stuff. Yeah.
Right. So I think it's important that when you are thinking about like where you're going to find like your productivity and tips and stuff like that, it certainly helps to have context with this because you want to aspire for someone who is, down a similar avenue as you and see how they did it specifically.
So like, for example, in this context, would you, because this is a good comparison. So Matt Diavella, amazing filmmaker, kind of strays away from making filmmaking tips. He makes more self-help tips, right? Mm-hmm. Would you inherently have more respect and feel that there's more of a impactful and powerful like pull towards this believing in the person if it was someone like I'm trying to think of the name right now, Casey Neistat, who talks about he doesn't talk about it a crazy amount. I have the name of the person, Peter McKinnon. Do you know who that is?
No.
He's a YouTuber who is like Matt Diavella in the sense and Casey Neistat in the sense that they're amazing filmmakers, but he makes content about how to be good at recording stuff.
I have more respect for that.
Exactly. That's what I was asking. Okay. So we're that's where you're at.
Right, because I mean, the only thing that let's say like a fake guru who's only selling you persuasion, the only thing they're good at is making videos that get you persuaded. So they're a master of this persuasion, and if they make videos about how to persuade people or make videos look nice in order to, get you to watch it, you can be a master of that. You can teach that, but I wouldn't call it a skill. And this is where Socrates makes a distinction between craft and knack. And I also, in the paper, I knocked his productivity videos down to a knack, and Fake Dimitri was very upset.
Fake Dimitri was floored.
So a basic way to understand the difference between a craft and a knack would be, and Socrates puts this in the Gorgias, where he says that the doctor would be someone that you would say is a craftsman, because they are genuinely giving you good advice on how to be healthy. They're going to prescribe you medicine or give you good dietary tips of what to put in your body. And it's actually going to be good for your soul and for your health. And then you have the pastry maker, who is the ideal. I don't think knacksman is a word, but
yeah,
he's a knack guy.
The knack guy.
Because what seems to be what's good for you, he's going to sell you that.
Yeah.
You want a pastry, it's tempting, and it might be good for your short-term pleasure, but it's not actually going to bring you any kind of health. If you only eat pastries, you will probably not sustain yourself. I feel like you're not lacking. I wonder how long you can go only eating pastries before you die.
I don't think in an exceptional amount of time.
Right. So it's not genuinely good for you, but it's something that's persuasive, and a lot of people fall for it all the time, right?
Yeah, that's true. So that's it. If you want to see this episode or any other episode of the Rise Productive podcast, make sure to go and check the show out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else that you can find podcasts today.